Have you ever wondered why China suddenly slammed the brakes on Boeing, sending shockwaves through American industry? Boeing lost 25% of its global market overnight, threatening supply chains and millions of jobs. In this video, we'll dive deep into China's strategy and reveal how the U.S. can fight back to save its manufacturing backbone before it's too late. China's Boeing ban is a ruthless strike at the heart of America's aerospace supremacy. Boeing, once America's industrial titan, just lost a quarter of its global market in one brutal move by China. This isn't just a business setback. It's China's bold bid to build its own aerospace empire while exposing U.S. vulnerabilities. And they're playing for keeps. China's decision to slam the brakes on Boeing shipments is nothing short of economic warfare. Boeing relies on China for 20 to 25% of its global aircraft deliveries, a massive chunk of its revenue and production pipeline. In 2024, Boeing delivered 405 aircraft worldwide, with China accounting for nearly 100 of those. This ban doesn't just hurt Boeing's bottom line. It threatens tens of thousands of American jobs and undermines a sector critical to both civilian and defense needs. Aerospace isn't just about planes. It's about advanced manufacturing, technological innovation, and national pride. Why target Boeing? The answer lies in China's long-game strategy. Aerospace is the gold standard of advanced manufacturing, a sector where the U.S. has historically held a competitive edge. Boeing, alongside Airbus, has dominated global skies for decades. But China's not content to be a customer. Over the past 15 years, it's invested over $20 billion into its aerospace industry, with state-backed COMAC, Commercial Aircraft Corporation of China, developing the C919 jet to rival Boeing's 737 and Airbus's A320. In 2024, COMAC secured 300 new orders, mostly from Asian carriers, signaling its rising threat. This ban serves dual purposes. First, it cripples Boeing, exposing its vulnerabilities after years of self-inflicted wounds, deregulation, stock buybacks costing $40 billion since 2013, and safety scandals like the 737 MAX crashes that eroded trust. Second, it accelerates China's push for aerospace self-reliance. By cutting off Boeing, China funnels demand to COMAC and Airbus, starving its U.S. rival while bolstering its own industry. China's aerospace market, the world's second largest, is projected to need 8,500 new planes by 2040, per Boeing's own estimates. Controlling that market is China's endgame, and this ban is a giant leap toward it. The U.S. response? Alarmingly absent. There's no government plan to rescue Boeing, despite its role as a linchpin of the defense industrial base. The Pentagon relies on Boeing for fighters, tankers, and more, yet Washington offers no lifeline. This isn't just a corporate failure, it's a national security crisis. China's playing chess while the U.S. fumbles the board, leaving Boeing and America exposed. As Boeing crumbles, Europe's Airbus is riding high on China's strategic pivot. Airbus's stock skyrocketed 15% in 2 weeks after China's Boeing ban, cementing its role as the trade war's biggest winner. But this isn't just a corporate victory. It's China's cunning move to fracture Western unity and tilt the global balance, and it's working like a charm. While Boeing grapples with its existential crisis, Airbus is seizing the moment. China's Boeing ban has made Airbus the primary beneficiary, with analysts forecasting a 25% surge in orders from Chinese airlines in 2025. In 2024, Airbus delivered 766 aircraft globally, outpacing Boeing's 405. The ban has supercharged its momentum, with Airbus's market share in China already at 50% before the ban, set to climb higher. Its A320neo, a direct competitor to Boeing's 737 MAX, is now the go-to choice for Chinese carriers, bolstered by Airbus's stronger safety record and reliable delivery timelines. This windfall isn't just about profits, it's a geopolitical maneuver. China's favoring Airbus strengthens Europe's economy, creating a wedge between the US and its allies. Europe now has a vested interest in China's success, complicating Western efforts to counter Beijing's rise. In 2024, EU-China trade reached 731 billion euros, and aerospace is a growing slice of that pie. By aligning with Airbus, China gains leverage over Europe, which is less likely to join US-led sanctions or trade restrictions. This fractures the transatlantic alliance, leaving the US increasingly isolated. The US failure to anticipate this is glaring. Boeing's decline isn't just a corporate misstep, it's a symptom of America's eroded industrial policy. Once a symbol of US ingenuity, Boeing's struggles, compounded by $10 billion in losses since 2019, reflect decades of prioritizing shareholder value over innovation. Meanwhile, Airbus benefits from Europe's coordinated industrial strategy, including €1.4 billion in annual subsidies. China's ban exploits this gap, boosting Airbus while exposing the US's lack of a counter-strategy. Without urgent action, America risks ceding aerospace dominance to Europe and China, a loss that would echo for generations. US tariffs ignited this trade war, but their erratic execution is plunging America into economic chaos. US ocean bookings collapsed 50% in a single week, with imports from China plummeting 64%, grinding trade to a halt. This isn't just a trade hiccup, it's a supply chain apocalypse that could paralyze US industries, and the White House is improvising at every turn. President Trump's tariff blitz was meant to revive US manufacturing and punish China, but it's backfiring spectacularly. Tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China, including a 25% auto tariff under Section 232, have thrown global supply chains into disarray. The US-Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA, complicates matters as car parts cross borders multiple times, up to 7 times for a single vehicle, per industry estimates. These tariffs inflate costs, disrupt production, and alienate allies. Trump's recent flirtation with exemptions for auto tariffs only deepens the confusion, with policies shifting daily. The economic toll is staggering. US imports dropped 64% and exports fell 30% week over week in April 2025, per shipping data. Ocean bookings, critical for global trade, cratered by 50%, reflecting a near-total freeze in shipments. Companies, paralyzed by tariff uncertainty, are halting orders, echoing the just-in-time delivery disasters of COVID. Unlike China, which maintains 6-month stockpiles of rare earth minerals, the US has virtually no reserves. American firms hold less than 5% of global rare earth supplies, leaving them vulnerable to China's chokehold on critical materials for aerospace, semiconductors, and electric vehicles. China's response is merciless. By cutting off Boeing and restricting mineral exports, it's targeting America's strategic industries. Semiconductors, reliant on Chinese minerals, face a 20% production shortfall in 2025, per SIA estimates. The tariff chaos also alienates allies like Canada and Mexico, who face $50 billion in combined trade losses, per IMF projections. Without a coherent strategy, the US is hemorrhaging economic power, while China orchestrates a global realignment that leaves America scrambling. The US auto industry, a manufacturing bedrock, is buckling under the weight of tariff turmoil. The big 3 automakers warn that tariffs could inflate car prices by $20,000 per vehicle, devastating consumers and threatening millions of jobs. But this isn't just about sticker shock. It's China outmaneuvering the US, while American workers bear the brunt, and the government's response is a masterclass in indecision. The auto industry, employing over 1 million Americans, is another casualty of this trade war. Tariffs on Canada and Mexico disrupt intricate supply chains, with car parts crossing borders multiple times during production. In 2024, North American auto output reached 16.5 million vehicles, but tariffs threaten a 15 to 20% production drop in 2025, per IHS Markit. The Big Three, GM, Ford, and Stellantis, have lobbied the White House for exemptions, warning that unchecked tariffs could cripple their operations. Stellantis announced 900 layoffs in Q1 2025, directly tied to tariff costs, with more cuts looming. China's shadow looms large. By restricting rare earth minerals, essential for EV batteries, China's squeezing US automakers like Tesla, which saw its stock dip 8% in April 2025. Meanwhile, Chinese firms like BYD are thriving, with 4.3 million EVs sold globally in 2024, compared to GM's 200,000. China's domestic EV market, supported by $100 billion in subsidies, outpaces the U.S., where EV adoption lags at 10% of new car sales. The U.S. auto industry, still scarred from the 2009 recession, faces a new existential threat with no clear government support. Trump's tariff exemptions for autos, teased in March 2025, highlight the policy's incoherence. The Big Three secured temporary relief after intense lobbying, but the on-again, off-again approach creates uncertainty that stifles investment. U.S. auto investment dropped 12% in Q1 2025 per Deloitte, as firms brace for a potential recession. China's precision in targeting U.S. weaknesses, minerals, aerospace, autos, contrasts sharply with America's haphazard response, leaving the auto sector vulnerable and workers on edge. American workers are the real victims of this trade war, caught between lofty promises and harsh realities. Since NAFTA's inception, 90,000 U.S. manufacturing facilities have shuttered, wiping out millions of high-wage jobs and hollowing out communities. This isn't just about trade deals. It's about a system that's abandoned workers for decades. And Trump's tariff chaos is making things worse, not better. Manufacturing workers are on the front lines of this economic battlefield. NAFTA, enacted in 1993, cost the U.S. 5 million manufacturing jobs, per the Economic Policy Institute, as firms chase cheaper labor in Mexico and China. Shawn Fain, head of the United Auto Workers, UAW, defends tariffs as a tool to force companies to prioritize American jobs, but he's vocal about their chaotic rollout. Tariffs without industrial policy, Fain argues, are like firing a shotgun in a crowded room. Everyone gets hit. In 2024, manufacturing jobs grew by just 50,000, a fraction of the millions lost since the 1990s. Trump's rhetoric promises a manufacturing revival, but his policies betray workers. His vision of a Gilded Age economy, with deregulation and union busting, undermines labor power. In the 1950s, 50% of factory workers were unionized, supported by robust labor laws and a growing social safety net. Today, unionization is under 10%, and Trump's administration has slashed NLRB funding by 20% since 2021. The tariff roller coaster, exempting autos one day, reinstating them the next, creates uncertainty that deters hiring. U.S. manufacturing investment fell 15% in Q1 2025 per annum, as firms hedge against economic volatility. Workers face a double blow: job insecurity and rising costs. Tariffs act as a regressive tax, with the Consumer Price Index rising 4% in Q1 2025, hitting working-class families hardest. Fain's frustration is palpable. He supports tariffs conceptually, but sees no plan to protect workers from their fallout. A recession, with a 35% likelihood in Q2 2025, per J.P. Morgan, could trigger mass layoffs, echoing the 2009 auto crisis that nearly killed GM. Workers deserve better than empty promises and policy whiplash. China's not just waging a trade war, it's orchestrating a seismic shift in global economic power. China's aerospace and EV sectors are on track to capture 60% of global market share by 2030, poised to eclipse U.S. dominance. This isn't just about market share, it's about China rewriting the rules of the global economy. And the U.S. is dangerously unprepared. China's Boeing ban is a glimpse of its grand ambition: to dominate the 21st century economy. By targeting aerospace, semiconductors, and autos, China's striking at America's strategic core. Its investments in COMAC and BYD are yielding results. COMAC's C-19 secured 500 orders in 2024, while BYD's EVs outsold Tesla globally. China controls 90% of global rare earth mineral production, giving it a stranglehold on tech supply chains. By restricting exports, it's choking U.S. innovation, with semiconductor output projected to drop 25% in 2025 per Gartner. China's aligning the world to its advantage. By favoring Airbus, it strengthens Europe, which now accounts for 30% of China's aerospace imports. By investing $200 billion annually in tech R&D, China's outpacing the U.S., where federal R&D spending lags at $150 billion. The U.S. has no answer. No industrial policy exists to revive Boeing or bolster autos, and tariff chaos alienates allies like Canada and Mexico, who face $60 billion in trade losses. If trends hold, China's GDP could surpass the U.S. by 2035, per IMF forecasts, cementing its economic supremacy. This trade war is a test of resolve, and China's winning. Its precision contrasts with U.S. disarray, leaving America's industries vulnerable and its global influence waning. The Boeing ban is a warning. Adapt or be left behind. China's Boeing ban exposes America's fragility, a weakened industrial base, incoherent policies, and no plan to counter Beijing's rise. Aerospace, autos, and semiconductors are under attack, and workers are paying the price. The U.S. needs a comprehensive strategy, targeted tariffs, $500 billion in R&D investment, and robust labor protections to rebuild its manufacturing might. Share this video to ignite the debate and comment. How should America respond? Subscribe for more hard-hitting analysis as this crisis unfolds. The future hangs in the balance. Let's act before it's too late.